The Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Beacon, a home for those who have a passion for filmmaking and the unusual. The haunted Hinsdale House. Those who walk there do not walk alone. Paraware, apparel for the action-seeking paranormal investigator. Dragonfly art and soul for all of your magical, metaphysical, and spiritual needs. Mystery Control, your go-to feed for science, magic, true crime, the paranormal, and so much more. Niagara, one of the top rated destinations in Western New York. The Black Cat Lounge is part of the Paraflix Entertainment Network. Hey everybody, Tim Shaw here. Thank you for being a part of the Black Cat Lounge. Tonight we have a great show for you tonight. But before we do, I want to make sure that we are able to go and welcome our newest sponsor. If you're looking for the macabre, you're looking for all sorts, any kind of books on witchcraft, on hauntings, on dark subjects, on vampires, please take the time and visit Dark Moon Press. And they are the official publishers of both mine and my guest tonight. Our books, our works, and they're all over the place. And I have to say that it's a fantastic organization to work with. Hey, I want to thank Sarah Carr for inviting my wife and I on a little journey. And the journey was amazing. The journey was absolutely amazing. We went to the Buffalo Psychiatric Center. And if anybody is used to knows anything about the Buffalo Psychiatric Center, it is actually it's a former psychiatric center. It's now called the Richardson Complex. It's a beautiful, beautiful hotel, and we got a chance to explore many of the closed off areas. We got a chance to go through the basements. We got a chance to go into those. Into these separate ward areas, these buildings that were separate. We got a chance to go up into the attic. It was just an amazing, it was just an amazing experience. And our guide was tremendous. And some of you may know that I have done a lot of work, research in some of the Buffalo murder. How can I describe it? Some of the interesting murder topics of Buffalo, New York, and Western New York. And Sadie McMullen was a 17-year-old servant girl, and she was involved in something that happened. And she was actually declared incompetent, insane, and was sent to the Buffalo Psychiatric Asylum. And our guide was related to her, and we got a chance to go up into the ward where she herself stayed. That is amazing. I mean, it was just a how can I even describe it? It was just mind-blowing. And the day before, we had gone to a wedding at the Richardson Hotel, which is Buffalo Psychiatric, and we were in the rebuilt area, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. So it was so, Sarah, thank you so very, very much for allowing us to be a part of this tour. And it was and I'm just going to tell you something. 3.5 hours, all standing, all walking, all climbing. It was tremendous. It was just great. Now, guys, my guest tonight really doesn't need an introduction. I've known him for, I'm going to have to ask him how long we've known each other. We have, we've really been steaming around for a while. I actually did camera work for him on his internet show many, many years ago. And what I love about this guy is the fact that he is probably one of the most passionate people that you'll ever meet when it comes to the subjects that we're talking about today. And he also just happens to be the owner of probably the most monumental haunted location. And I'm gonna just put my neck out and say, basically New York State, at least the best known haunted location in Western New York and in New York State, the haunted Hinsdale House. So, guys, without further ado, let me introduce you to someone who I respect, I admire, someone who has really gone the extra mile and just uh, he's just a genuinely good person. So, guys, without further ado, my good friend Dan Klaes. Danny, how are you, brother?
Good. How are you?
Good, Dan. You know what I gotta say, I was thrilled when I got because I know you're so busy. I, does Colleen put like a bell on your like around your neck so she knows when you're like actually in the house because you're going in and out, you're going all over the place?
No, the good thing we have that like Life 360 thing, like where she can see where I am on the map, like where is he where is he now? She was just texting me because I was in Orchard Park in Amherst, and she goes, "Are you close to home?" Because she made taco salad and wanted me to eat before it was gone. So
See, that's a good woman because
she's a good wife.
you gotta listen. Listen, so many people go and they say, "Well, the paranormal is monumental of what we do." No, actually, when it comes to you and me and paranormal, we'll eat first. We'll always eat first.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you. You know what? I've known you for so long, and I know a lot about you, and a lot of those things we're not going to go into. We won't share those things. But
13 years, 3 months, and 2 days. No, I'm kidding. It's somewhere around there.
I was going to say, yeah, probably it probably is. I know it's well over a decade. I was thinking almost 15 years, if I'm
Probably, yeah.
mistaken. Yeah, because you know what, I remember meeting you through Cameron. You're one
Yeah.
of a guy that you worked with when you were producing another show, and then I remember working with you one on one when we were filming, actually up at the Hinsdale House years before you actually bought it. Do you remember that day?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I reference the videos quite often, and we have clips of that. It's really cool. And I mean that those Hinsdale videos that we shot, have been viewed like a million times on YouTube. So I mean, it's one of the highest
I know.
videos that we've shot. So
I'm telling you, it's just amazing. Every time I turn around, uh, I have. I just put up today a music video that Eric Charles he did the music to, and I just did a quick 4 or 5 minute music video to it. I just realized I can't. I mean, first of all, the hits are amazing, but that's almost a decade old.
yeah,
I,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna have
look
to.
at the house compared to what it looks like today too. Like
Well,
the
yeah,
pictures.
that's exactly it. Well, well, you know what? I want to back up a little bit. I want to back up with you a little, just a tad. The reason why I find you fascinating is like you're a lot like me. We had child experiences as kids, and you now. I remember referencing someplace. I believe on Brett Quayle's show, the haunted therapist. You had referenced that you had lived in a haunted house. You grew up in a haunted house, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So, and now, second question: is that the house you're living in now?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I was just wondering because I remember you had bought the house or yeah you had bought the house. I was just wondering if that was something that was going on now. So let me ask you about your present house. Let me ask you about your present house. Seeing that you are so involved in the paranormal and metaphysical worlds, what do you have? Do you have anything that happens in your house?
No, I really don't. I have not noticed anything out of the ordinary happening in my current home. Of course, it comes with a lot of blessings. A lot of different people have given me different things to put over my doorways, or
Right.
different blessings that I like. I have this cool thing that I got from Christopher St. Booth. So I have all these cool little things that people have given me to protect my house. And whether they work or not, I mean, I just haven't had anything happen in my new house. Now, the cool thing about the house that I have now, it's only had 3 owners. So
Oh, cool.
it's been passed on from generation to generation, and
Right.
it was passed on to me. So, but the house that I grew up in is right across the street. So this was my neighbor that I purchased the house from.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that was your.
I get to wake up and stare at the house that I grew up in every day, and the people that have live in there now. I talked at I've had like 2 or 3 different neighbors and talked to them about it, and I said, "Oh, do you know this house was referenced on a Travel Channel show, on America's Most Terrifying Locations?" And
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, well, what? You know what?" And I go, "Yeah, everything, anything weird ever happened there? Like." And they reference things that have happened, weird things that have happened in the house. That they've nothing malicious, but it just I feel like the paintings that we found up in the attic of that location, I feel like those kind of were the memento, the piece that we found that linked the children's spirits that were in that
Hmm.
house, um, to the hauntings there. So, and we have
You.
those to this day.
I was just going to ask you what you did with those paintings because a lot of times I have gotten cases where people have moved to a new home, and it seems as if something follows them to there. And I used to be always, well, it's not the place that's haunted, it's the person that's haunted. But lately, I've been finding that people have been bringing generational things with them when they
Sure.
move. Do you think that these paintings have anything to do with the haunting? And why do you think that now they seem dormant?
So when all this was happening, I had gone to Lilydale, and actually, first time I ever had a reading. I didn't know if I believed in it or not. And the reading that I had was with Ellen. Ellen
Oh, Ellen
Bourne.
Bourne?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
later down the road we became good friends. So, but anyway, so she before I even paid her, she said, "Oh, there's 2 children spirits living in your house," and she told me stuff about my grandfather that nobody would know, and
Very
then
cool.
she
Yeah.
had told me that they're attached to something in the location. So, when we ended up finding these paintings up in the attic, I knew that was what it was, and I had done kind of what she said to say to them after we found them, to go to the light, and it just felt like I don't know, it just felt lighter. It felt like they were able
Exactly.
to go to the light, and not that they didn't come back, but it didn't. Things weren't happening as much as they did. Once we recognized them, because the paintings
Hmm.
were of a little boy and a little girl playing
Right.
with the dog. Like a whole series of paintings of these kids that died and that cystic fibrosis. So it was, I did a lot of research. I always call it like my first Scooby Doo episode of my life. It was a lifetime of research. When I got the deed, I was able to research it even more and find the microfiche. Remember that stuff?
Yes, I do.
Tonawanda.
You listen.
So
You know what? You can always tell. You can always tell old researchers when we start going referencing microfilm and microfiche because that was
yeah,
we used to use that constantly. How many times did you used to go down to the Buffalo Library, the big Buffalo Library, and like access this and spend days, literally days,
yeah.
going through all these references? It was
That
amazing
and
back
I
then.
was uh, I was referencing the North Tonawanda Library because they had it all the old Tonawanda newses on file there. So I was utilizing that one and just going through old papers and stuff based on the names searches from the deed. Trying to find like specifics in the papers and stuff from the past. So it was
Right.
pretty neat.
I think that's phenomenal. Okay, let me just ask you this. Now, when did you first hear about or learn about the Hinsdale case? And I'll just tell you that I remember because I'm a tad older than you, youngster, and just a tad, a big tad. But I remember seeing references in the local newspapers to Hinsdale back in the I think it was like mid 70s or somewhere around there. And when I moved, I actually found 2 of my scrapbooks when I was a kid that I used to keep all these clippings, and I actually found 1 or 2 Hinsdale references in those scrapbooks. So I kind of can go back to when it started to get popularized. What about you? When did you first hear about it?
I didn't. Actually, the first time that I heard about it is when Cameron booked it. He had booked the
Really?
location. Yeah, and normally I did a lot of the research on the locations that we were going to, and he didn't want me to do it for this one. So I was kind of just like a cold investigation for me and
Hmm.
the team. Drove up there, had a hard time getting up the hill with my car. It was in the middle of winter,
Yeah,
and
I,
it was
I remember that.
flies buzzing around in the kitchen in the middle of the winter. It was freezing in there. There was only electricity in the one room.
Yep.
And and then he had to sit down and watch the episode of A Haunting sitting in the living room. And I just remember watching that and thinking, I hope we're not in that house, in the house that they're referencing on the television show, it was kind of from that point on, it was just more, I just wanted to gain more knowledge, because when we did do our investigation that night, it just seemed like any pieces of equipment that we had was going off. It was like unreal, like any other location that we've been to. You and I both know we'll just sit someplace for a couple hours sometimes and be excited to get an EVP or a bleep on the K2 meter, and that's our
Yep.
fun for the night. But at Hinsdale, stuff was just it was like they were manipulating everything, every piece of equipment we had, and it made me intrigued with the location.
I think it's one of those places, and I know Nick Groff feels the same way. Kat Weedman feels the same way. When we were all working together on Paranormal Lockdown, it was it's one of those locations that when it gets into your skin, it gets into your soul, and it's one of those places that, to me, was never evil. I mean, a lot of people talk about all this Wilhelm and all these different things that go on, but I kind of harken back to like 2011, 2010 when I first went there physically. And I've always felt that it is one of those places that just wanted to talk to you, just needed somebody to talk to get a story out. And then when from there, I mean, I met Paul Kenyon and stuff. And previously, I had literally bought a book, used book somewhere, and it ended up being Clara Miller's Echoes of a Haunting book about the house. And that's when I really kind of got enthralled with it. When you went up there, what was your first impression? Like, again, I know you said that, oh, I hope this isn't the house.
While
But
I was
after
sitting in
that,
the house,
did
yeah,
you?
I mean, it was I had to kind of ground myself after that, and but then when we ended up doing the investigation, it was intriguing for me. It was like pretty cool.
Now, did you? What I mean, let me ask you your first impressions when you started to investigate. Meters and all the shiny doodads aside,
Well, I mean,
what was the impression that you were getting in that house? Because I'm going to tell you, Dan, and you can tell me I'm full of shit, but I'm going to tell you anyway. You're probably you are so intuitive, and you really. I've seen you work. I've seen you talk to people, and you have this sincerity that you can read people, you can read areas. I know you can. You can deny it all you want, but I know that you do possess that. So without going and doing the investigation, I won't say scientific, but the meter investigation, what was your inner impression?
well, first of all, the main thing that people forget to do these days is listen. You have to listen to people, and understand where people are coming from, and that's what kind of does that make me intuitive, or does that make me want to understand where people are coming from and understanding what their situation is, so I can
Mm-hmm.
be compassionate to whatever is happening. But my first impressions of the location is, man, this place is very active. I felt like there was energy there that wanted to speak, but we weren't giving it the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to. Um, we weren't giving it the tools that it's needed to allow us to give us the information that we need. It made me want to research the location more. Um, so that's kind of what I started doing. You remember when we were filming Behind the Shadows in the kitchen there, it was just me, you, Cameron, and Michelle,
Right.
and we were focusing on the structural exorcism of the house, and nothing was happening. And then when I mentioned Flo and Joe, the K2 meter lit up in my hand and all the goosebumps up my arm. And remember when I held that in my hand and we walked up the stairs and it stayed lit in my hand all the way up the
Yep.
stairs, and I was just sold. That's what made me want to buy the house, because I felt like there was more to this place than meets the eye. I felt like I was connecting with another resident that may have lived there,
Hmm.
and I felt like we needed to save this location. Like it's if it's gone, it's gone, and it's just like another check off the wall of another historic location that's just going to be off the map that nobody can go to.
See,
So I
I
felt
felt,
like there was
yep.
just so.
No, so I felt the same way, and
Go ahead.
I have a photo of a newspaper article up that show Flo and Joe Mishnick, who were the very last people who actually were actual residents of the location, who actually
Right.
lived in the house. And what I thought was fascinating by it, and I had the same thing. That's why I actually went up there, because Western New York has a terrible habit of bulldozing its history and its mythology, and that's probably what was going to happen up there. And I mean, when I first went up there, the place was in pretty bad shape. But when you started, I remember when you were walking up those stairs, you felt like somebody was holding your hand, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who do you
And
think
it's
that
not.
was?
I'm not one. I feel like it was Flo. I really do.
Yeah.
Like I had said, will you hold my hand as we go up the stairs? And it's either Flo or something screwing with me, because I'm not one to get touched. I'm not one to get scratched. And when I go on investigations, it
Hmm.
very, very rarely happens to me. And for me to experience something like that physically, in this location, it was just mind boggling to me. And it just made me want to save it and, continue investigating it. It needed more of a deep dive, I felt, as far as the investigation went. And me just coming there once every couple months isn't going to do it.
Right. I agree. I agree. It was, let's, and for other people who really don't remember the history of it, it went through a succession of I won't say, well, owners, and then squatters and people who were kind of just like, using for like making a horror movie or whatever. And in the meantime, they had repainted, and I think I have a photo of what it used to look. This is what it looked like. This is actually a springtime picture. I was up there in the fall, in November. But this is what the house looked like when I first went up there. This is this would be like probably, and you can see just how rough it is.
Yeah.
And back in the 70s, this is when the Dandy family bought it. This was actually what it looked like. This is a good rendition of it. This is a very good photo of it at the time. And Dan has gone out of his way to go and bring it back to that beauty, into that functionality. So, Dan, let me just now. I have to ask you this one. I definitely have to ask you this question, buddy. You have a love for the house. The house calls you. The house is now available. What was your wife's reaction to you thinking about buying a haunted house in the middle of farm country on a hill?
That was a tough one, because I had gone to see the Reese family before even talking to her about it, and
Right. And they
kind of wanted to
held
know
the
what the
mortgage,
deal
correct?
was.
Yeah, they held the mortgage,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they owned it, and they kept it, and people would try to buy it, lease it from them, and then it would keep going back to them because everybody would leave, the location. Nobody was staying there permanently. So,
Right.
it just kept going back to them. But I wanted to find out what the deal was, what I would need to save it before I even wanted to present it to my wife. And then I remember talking to her about it, because we had just purchased our new home, and we didn't have much in the bank. I didn't know how I was going to come up with this or try to save it, and I just remember saying, honey, I wanted to talk to you about this income property down in the southern tier. And she goes, I go, remember that haunted house I was talking to you about down there on the farm, and she's like, yeah. I go, well, it's for sale. And I get to kind of told her what my idea was with buying it and saving it and doing investigations and stuff like that. And she goes, well, what's wrong with it? And I'm like, oh, geez. oh my gosh, like I had to like put my hands on my head and I had to be honest with her. I'm
Right.
like, it's got black mold in the kitchen. It needs new siding. It needs a new roof. It's leaking. It doesn't have any electrical, doesn't have any, all the ductwork was ripped out of it. And basically is a shell right now. And it
Hmm.
needs to, all the stuff needs to be redone. And by the end of the conversation, she believed in me. She's an awesome, like I said before, she's an awesome woman, and allowed me to like basically empty our bank account out to put this deposit down on the house to buy it. And I still, even going up there with that check and signing the contract and then driving up to the house, and the door was wide open at the house and somebody breaking in, and the grass was like 3 foot tall. And I just remember
Hmm.
thinking, what the hell did I just do? What? I didn't know. I didn't know what I was going to do. At that point, I just knew in my head, my vision, but I had to bring that to life somehow now with nothing.
But you did. And do you think that the the energy and the spirits, I'll just say spirits, do you think that they stepped in? Because I do believe in in divine intervention. I really do. I personally do. And I believe that you're doing something right for the right reason, which is important, do you think that they may have had a hand in directing you to the right people to talk to the right people to help you in order to achieve your goal with this house?
I do now, but when you're going through that, it's hard to think about because I think you have choices to make in life, and I remember Bernice telling me too. She said, You were meant to have that house. It came to you the way it was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to, and this is all the way it was supposed to happen. You could have chosen a different path, but you didn't. And I feel like kind of it was meant to be. Maybe I was called in to do it because even after I bought the location, I was getting, there was a lot of hate. There was a lot of stuff that was happening, and it took a long time. That patience and that you talked about with me, like being able to listen and wait for that right time to talk to people and understand where people are coming from. It took me years to be able to even talk to Clara, like
Mm-hmm.
and but it happened eventually, and I was like, oh, getting a hold of Cassidy, getting a hold of me. I know so many people knew Cassidy, and I know she didn't particularly like me at the beginning because I was, she just thought I was going to come in and make a fun house at this location, and after all the research and everything she's done with it. And I just kept, everybody that I knew her. I was subtly saying, well, make sure you mention what a good guy I am, tell her what, like, uh, when you talk to
Yeah.
her, just,
Yeah.
put in a good word for me, tell her I'd like to speak to her at some point, because I think she thought I was mad because she put that article out, the Hinsdale Follies. And I was not mad at all, because that was all great research, and that was
Mm-hmm.
all information that at that point I didn't know. I didn't know I had a mistake on the timeline. I didn't know, I was only knew at the time what the stories were that I was told,
Right.
and it evolves. The story evolves and things evolve as you learn more. But I was impressed by her research, and I wanted her to know that I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I think that people get butthurt about stuff like that. It holds you back. You
It
need to
does.
be able to
It does.
you need to be able to accept things when they're not right, and especially when it comes to hauntings. If you have the information wrong, you're not gonna be going down the right path, and you want to be going down the right path. So
So,
eventually, I got a call from her. She's like, "You want to go have a beer?" I'm like, "Absolutely, let's go."
well, I mean, it's funny because when I first started my path into the research at the Hinsdale House, I ended up down in the archives of St. Bonaventure University, where Father Alphonse Tribble, who did a lot of the work up there, who did the structural deliverance, which is which is a structural exorcism,
Cleansing.
essentially. I got a chance to go and well, basically, I copied everything that wasn't sealed by the diocese, and I got a chance to go and see a lot of the things that I couldn't copy because they were under seal. And the archivist was so gracious, and if you didn't go down there and actually get your hands dirty like she did, you would never know the true timeline in there. You
Right.
know, you the title, all the titles, and I mean, there was just so much to it that you needed to go and you needed to find. And I think I think a lot of people, and I don't want to single out paranormal people because I know a lot of metaphysical people that are the same way. Uh, you have to you have to be fluid. You have to be able to accept that you may not have 100% of all the information. You've got to be able to go and be fluid enough to say, hey, wait a minute, this is new information. Where did it come from? Let's check it out. And if it is right, let's put it into our timeline. Let's put it into our narrative. And you've done that. It's so tremendous. I know that Wildwood in Salamanca, which I love, has done the same thing. You've done it. And I think that's the mark of a true owner, someone who cares about the property and the history of the property. Let me change gears a little bit now on you, on you, Dan. Have you ever got the groovy googlies when you get up there, where like you're like, you know, like, I don't know if something wants me to leave right now. You know, maybe I've, you know, maybe I know that I own the place, but maybe, you know, they want me to go. Did you ever get that feeling up there yet, or
I
is
have.
it? Yeah, you know, I was wondering about that because when Dustin invited me up for the for his little event last month, you were up there, and I was talking with you and Diana, and it's like that house just felt so warm and welcoming, and and then you left, and then I won't say that the atmosphere changed. I will say that it got a little bit more intense. But so long as you were there, it was very opening, very welcoming. It was very relaxed and calm. And I think that that's a credit to you because I think whoever walks there or whichever energies are there, the intelligent energies, knows that you're there for the right reason. Let's talk about, has there ever been anything up there that really like made you say, ooh, that's interesting? Because I can tell you I've got a long list of things
Oh yeah.
that have happened to me up there where I'm going, oh, wait a minute, what happened there? You know, why what? You know, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, one that really holds true to mind for me is one night a friend Kaylee, who's a big fan of the location but very much skeptical of paranormal,
Mm-hmm.
always said, I like to take skeptics up on their invites. Like I've had Kenny Biddle up there numerous times.
Yep.
I've had any skeptic that wants to come up there, you're more than welcome. But anyway, so she's like, when there's an off night, do you think we could go up there? And I'm like, yeah, so it was like a Wednesday or a Tuesday night or something like that. And we were sitting in the kitchen. We had ordered a pizza from Crosby's and we were just shooting the shit, talking at the table. Nothing was happening. It was
Mm-hmm.
quiet, just like that, like you said, like
Yep.
it's quiet. We weren't using any equipment. We were just listening and trying to feel the place out, because ultimately I just wanted her to experience something. If it was going to happen, it was great. So it got pretty late, and we crashed on the couches. She was on the small couch, I was on the big couch, and in the living room, how we just have that like one night light in there.
Right.
And as I'm crouched over on the couch, she's over on the small one. I felt something, just felt like something touched the back of my neck. I thought maybe it was a fly or something. And I'm like, oh man, and I went like this, and I moved, and then it happened again, and I turned over, and I saw this shadow figure, like literally, like right on the other side of the table,
Very
and
cool.
I'm like, oh my gosh, just take like that deep breath, and you're like, is this, you're actually witnessing this, and it crossed over where the nightlight was, and it was blacking out the nightlight, and I'm like, and I'm thinking in my mind, like, how is it blocking? If this is energy, how is it blocking out this nightlight? And I kicked over to Kaylee. I'm like, Kaylee, and she turned over and she's like, oh my God, do you see? She saw it. She saw what I
Good.
was seeing, so I knew I wasn't sleeping.
Good.
And then she jumped over onto the couch with me, and it proceeded to like move back and forth, and it just dissipated into where the lower or bathroom was,
Right.
and it was gone. It was gone. But she saw it, I saw it, and it was great for her. Something she couldn't explain. And then we tried to fall back asleep after that all happened. That was kind of tough. I did end up falling back asleep, and then when I woke up a couple hours later, she left me there. She was out. She took off. I go, what the heck? You didn't even tell me you were leaving. So I guess she couldn't deal with it anymore. But it was kind of, yeah, it was kind of like, what the hell? I can't believe she left me here.
Well, Dan, I've fallen asleep in almost every haunted location I've ever investigated in.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm kind of used to that by now. I have to say that the Hinsdale House, for me, I've had two unbelievable experiences there where I've never, and I mean, you and I have steamed all over the place, and we've been all over, and we've been, invited to different places. And the two pinnacle personal experiences for me were the first one was when I first went up there, and I was standing on the stairs, and I looked down, and I saw the little girl at the bottom of the stairs. And when I got a hold of Clara Miller, and I described what she looked like and everything, and she says, "You gave me a start because you described my daughter Laura." And Laura, for those of you who don't know the story, Laura loved it up there. And when they moved to the West Coast, many years later, she committed suicide. And she always said that if anything ever happened to her, she would always come back to the house. And I thought that was just so beautiful. And it was this apparition was as real as you or I. So that was a peak moment. But the other one was, here's one of my favorite stories, Dan. I'm sleeping on that little couch. There's a bunch of us there. All of a sudden, a K2 meter at 5 a.m. goes off, which is like right by my head. I yell, "Will you just be quiet? What is wrong with you? Can't you at least let me sleep till 7?" The K2 meter stopped dead. It was like somebody grabbed the aerial, because that's kind of a scream it was. Stopped dead. At 10 minutes after 7 or quarter after 7, the thing went off again. I'll never forget that. It was great. And this is the type of interaction that I live for, Dan. And that's why I think that this location is just so special. So special. Now, when you think about the influences, do you think that the house can continuously call you back to it? Because I know everybody, I mean, I don't know how many people that I've talked to that have not just been to the house once. They've been there multiple times. People go there yearly if they can get there, sometimes bi-yearly. So,
in fact, I have people there right now that have been going for the past 6-7 years. They've been there every year at this time. They book.
Isn't that amazing?
The same week every yeah.
I think that that's what's so important about that house. The other thing that's important about the house, and again, it's like places like Wildwood and other places. Adam Kimmel's 2 properties.
3.
Oh, that's right.
He's got
3.
He's got one in Indiana.
Yeah, I forgot he's got the 3rd one. I have to say that you put your money where your mouth is. So many places only take out of a location. You have done such an amazing job giving back to the house. And again, I think that's where it's important. Do you think that whoever is out there, and I want to talk about the graves in just a second, but do you think that whoever is attached to the house realizes that you love it so much that you are putting back and making it better?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's part of the reason why it is the way it is. It's like me being called to the location. Like I had like they knew that I would be the right person for the job. Maybe that I would have the whereabouts and the I don't know. I mean, I had a degree in marketing. I used to market bands.
Right.
I was a tour manager. Like I utilized everything I learned in my life with this location, promoting it. Like the tours that we do and trying to get it out there as far as like for people to see it and experience it themselves. It's not even, to me, it's not even about the stories and the folklore and all that stuff. It's about coming there and experiencing it for yourself. And
I agree.
They do. And just with all the reviews and all the years we've been keeping the records of the people that have come there, people are experiencing things that we can't explain. And that's what keeps drawing people back for more. Just like for me, the first time I was there, it made me want to come back. And I can understand how and why people want to come back there because they're experiencing stuff.
Yep,
You know,
I agree.
it's
100% I agree. Okay, let's talk about something that I always felt may have been on the property, and then you guys actually found something on the property. Let's talk about the McMahon graves that are on the property. Uh,
well, we don't know who they are. I mean, we don't know
okay.
specifically. Yeah, I mean, we don't know specifically. I mean, and first and second of all, we don't know that they definitely are graves, or what when they do ground penetrating radar,
Right.
They find an anomaly that they think could be a potential grave site. So we call them potential burial shafts, but in order for us to know for sure, we would have to dig those up. And basically, I've been told when we reported it to the sheriff's department, then if they're dug up, that we're going to be shut down because it'll be an active crime scene, regardless of if they're ancient graves or not. We don't know for sure. So in the area that we did find these burial shafts, we John Griffin and his group, paranormal group, made a memorial plaque for any. It just memorializes any energies or spirits that are on the location, and and we're honoring that and that spot where they could possibly be.
I'm a firm believer that they are there, and the reason why is because my activities with Concordia Cemetery here, my volunteer activities, and we use a lot of ground penetrating radar to locate burial shafts, and also when we're recovering stones. So they have a distinct imprint. They have a fingerprint that someone who is experienced in ground penetrating radar can say it's at least listen, I'm 75%
high probability.
sure. Yeah, high probability. So I'm going to go and I will say that I totally 100% believe that those are burial shafts there.
I do as well. But when we talk about it, I try to just make sure that we're being honest, with everybody that's coming to the property. I take a lot of slack. One of the hardest things about this location is the history from before paranormal lockdown with all the demons and all that stuff. It's so hard to shake that.
Right.
You can't shake that sometimes. And sometimes with different YouTubers or different people that come there and they want to make their story,
they want to make it pop.
So they get,
yep.
They talk about it still, and it's I can't control that. It's bad and good at the same time. But all I can say is the people that come to the house and do their tour and do the tour or do the scannable tour that we have going on, or want to get information when they're in the house, they're getting up to date information from everything that we've learned, what's truthful, what's folklore, what's real, and that's the best that I can do. I can't go around like getting on everybody. We try, but we can control when people come to the location.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, there's nothing that upsets me more than when I hear people, that go to different locations, and right away it's attachments, it's negative, it's this or that. In my experience, and I mean, a lot of the people that I've worked with over the years. In my experience, I have to say that it's whatever they're experiencing, I have a high expectation that it came with them. It's not indigenous to the house, because many times I have gone and been one of the very first people that got a chance to investigate a prime new location. And the impressions I get, the results I get, the EVPs I get, a couple years down the line, they don't match up with everybody else's, because True. I believe they become a self-fulfilling prophecy. I believe that people are looking for it. And the one thing I will say about the Hinsdale House, before I went up there the very first time, yes, I did my due diligence. I did every research. I did deep dives before deep dives were popular about the house. And when I got up there, and we got up there and we're walking around, and again, electricity in one room. Somebody had fallen through the ceiling in the kitchen, because they were monkeying around. Somebody kicked the door in, where the door was in the living room at the time. And I got to tell you that the house did not disappoint me. So I feel it's one of those locations that if you go and you are thinking about it, if you do the research, you do the thing, you're thinking about it, I think it does its best to give you what it wants, what you want at a house. Whereas if you're going there to be like, if you're even like a little bit afraid, that's why I always tell people about, when I remember somebody on one of the productions said, well, Tim, how come you're not doing a prayer of protection before you go in? I said, I don't need it, because I'm not expecting it, Yeah, I get knocked down or scratched or whatever, big deal, it's not my first rodeo, it won't be the last time. I lived through disco, Dan, I'm good,
That's right.
I got hit in the head with 16-ounce beer bottles, but I think the house gives you what you expect. And I feel that a lot of times a lot of people go up there with these preconceived notions of it being, well, there might be something demon. Or again, like you said, YouTube. Some of these YouTubers go up there and what they're doing is they want to be a thrill ride. They want for people to go and go, oh my God. And I mean, I have to tell you, when I was before the show, I was listening to a couple sound bites from Clara Miller that I did years ago with my old show on Para X. And she said there was never anything up there that was evil. It may have scared us, but it was never anything demonic or evil. Even Father Al Terbolt, he even said the exact same thing.
I said the same thing too. I said, it just feels like there's a negative, not even so much negative, but a heavy energy, like maybe just like any day, like when we're dealing with people, you're going to find a jerk here and there, and
yep.
There's definitely a jerk spirit there that's heavy, and it'll start swearing at you. It will, try to scare you, but I've been in a demonic case before. You remember Tina's case? Man,
yes, I do. I remember
compare that to the Hinsdale House, like night and day,
exactly.
So I mean, I
remember
with
that
you
case
100%.
Yeah.
Like,
we got something from Susie Wu, our friend Susie Wu. We'll be there together at in Erie this weekend. What's the difference between the day tour and the ghost tour? I'm on the website now getting ready to book. I am feeling one of the guys who is buried there. That's our Susie. I love Susie.
So I mean, the day tour is basically, that's where we're going to be this weekend.
That's us
this Saturday. But the day tour is the difference between the day tour and the ghost tour is the day tour is more like a history tour. The ghost tour, we bring out some equipment and investigate. And if Susie were to go, she would just be she would have her own. She could just investigate with her psyche. The day tour would be fine for her. But ghost tour, we bring out equipment and we'll actually dive into maybe trying to get some EVPs or a little bit something like that too. So depending on what people are feel okay with when they go there. So
I dug through my, I don't know. I've got literally, I don't know how many hours of tape that I've done at the Hinsdale House. But my favorite one is that I wanted to, how much I still don't like Mary's room. It's not as bad as when I first went in there up on the second floor. But I remember I asked, and I have an EVP here asking if I can stay in Mary's room. And it's kind of hard. It's not a class A EVP at all. It's probably a BC at best. But I think you're going to hear no. And I'm going to play it for you. Let me ask you this. Would it be okay if we stayed in Mary's room for the night? I listened to her. I listened to whoever it was. But I
thought it said bring soda and pizza. I don't know. Maybe it's no.
That would be me. But this is my favorite because you know what? As you know, I was brought up an old time spiritualist, right? So I love knockings. That's my big things, Fox Sisters and all that. And one night we weren't getting really anything, and I just kind of was like, hey, let's do some old timey stuff, And this is what I got.
Do you understand?
Did you hear that 2 knocks?
Yeah.
That blew my mind because I even had asked old timey. I want some old timey stuff, and so I absolutely loved it. So you know what, the Hinsdale House is so special to me. Let's talk about the future of the Hinsdale House. What do you think? What is your future goal for the Hinsdale House?
Just to keep it viable, as far as a paranormal research center, a place where people feel welcome to come to maybe explore that side of the curiosity that they have in the paranormal. It's already become more than I could have ever expected. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're booked well in advance. We're booked through November, every single
It's
weekdays,
amazing.
weekend. And I think part of it is making it affordable, not cutting people out that maybe can't afford to come there, just making everybody feel welcome.
And you
Because
do.
any, yeah, anybody's input is just as important as anybody else's. It's just because they can't afford the $50 or whatever, we make people feel welcome. If they really want to go there, we make sure that they get there, and I think people appreciate that,
Well, I
being able
know
to go
people
there,
appreciate it.
and what goes around comes around, and just like with what happened, we need to make some improvements to the location that's going to cost damn near close to 25K. But
Mm-hmm.
like we did with the auction this week, we made $8,300 for a couple spirit boxes because people believe in the location, and we made it fun, and man, it got us the deposit we needed to get the ball rolling with it, and
Exactly.
I'm very thankful, and that's the way it's always been with the location. Even from the day, when I first got it, the day of carrying that we had, and the 26 people showed up with paintbrushes and
That was amazing.
supplies,
Yeah.
and Lori, from before she owned the Wildwood Sanitarium, was there with Brooke, little Brooke, little tiny Brooke, painting the windows on the front porch, you know. So it was fun. I remember her and Brookie took care of the windows on the front porch.
Oh my gosh, that was great. You
I
know
think
what?
Brooke was probably like 10 or 11 at the time. She was little.
Probably. You know what? It's a testament not just to the house, Dan, but it's a testament to you. It's a testament of your sincerity, your passion for it, your love of history. It's so much that it's so much deeper than just owning a haunted location. And I think that's what's so important about you and what's going on. And I know I've followed, everybody has followed your family's path in the last few years, which has been so heart-wrenching but also inspiring. And it's just the fact that we see you now in the true light that you should have always been in. And that's someone who really just loves, cares, and just really is just a down to earth, honest person. And that's what I love about it. What are now before we have to go, Daniel?
Yes.
Where are we going to go? Because you know what, Dan, there's nobody better to travel with as you. So
Right.
you're my favorite. But anyway, where can people find you?
So I'm going to be obviously this weekend in Erie. And then after that, the next event that I have is in Lilydale on October 3rd.
Right. I forgot
And
Lilydale. That's right.
that's been going remarkable. I enjoy Lilydale so much. It's so much fun with the groups of people there. And just as you spoke about earlier, like with people bringing stuff with them. The last time I was there, I was in the pet cemetery, and we were reaching out to somebody's husband that passed away on the spirit box in the pet cemetery at Lilydale from Texas. Anyways, so that's
Typical in
October
Lilydale.
3rd. Yeah, and then in November I will be at the New Jersey Para Unity Expo. November, I believe it's the first Saturday in November. I think it's the first or second. I don't know. I'm so ahead of myself here, but September 7th. I'm sorry, September 7th. It'll be a New Jersey Para Unity Expo, one of the best events out there. On that's going today. It's highly attended. Lots of celebrities. It only costs $20 to get in. Can't beat it. It's a
No,
lot of
not
fun.
at all.
So.
That's
So yeah,
great.
those are I've been trying to like slowly get back into things, and I have some talks coming up in October as well. I'm going to be speaking at the Buffalo Downtown Library, which is really cool, and I have a couple other libraries that I'm going to be going. I've been asked to come back to that I spoke
Perfect.
at last year. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it'll be
That's
fun.
awesome. And I'm also going to suggest you for University Express talk because I love going there and talking to them. So I want
That'll
you.
be great.
I love to share, and I really think that you'd be a perfect fit. Dan, stay on the line. We got to end already. Thank you.
All
So
right.
much. I love you, baby. And you know what? If we were in the same room, I'd give you a hug. That's it. Listen, no kiss on this one. But yeah, well, man's got to have a
I'll
hug.
scratch your cat.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll be right back. Thank you, Dan. Dan is really one of the best guys out there. I really, truly love him from the bottom of my heart. He's just so honest, and he is someone who shares. And I learned so much from him. And he is, he's a humble guy, and he's a great example. So speaking about great examples, let's everybody get out there and just remember one thing. Let's be kind. Let's do some good work. You know what I believe about preservation? Preservation is something that keeps us all together and keeps the history alive. Until next week. Ciao, babies. Take care. I love you all. It's Black Cat Lounge. Where else? We're the elite meet next to the dumpster transfer station. Bye-bye.